Medicina aini, medicina cura-nos. Ayahuasca aini, ayahuasca cura-nos. I recently came back from an ayahuasca experience of mine, and I've had a life-changing insight and realization. And I really want to share this realization with you guys. But before that, before we start off, I'll have to admit something. I'll have to say something and make something really clear. As I've been falling off the path, right? It's kind of related to this realization. But when I share something here on this channel, I also want to share stuff that is not going well, right? As I don't want to paint the picture that I've got everything under control, as we're all humans, right? In this game that we are playing. And sometimes old patterns emerge. For example, I've been on my phone at times in the morning, first thing in the morning, instead of doing my morning routine, right? Falling into old patterns, habits, behaviors. And I just wanted to share that and say that that is okay as well. Because sometimes with social media and all the tricks and integration stuff and realizations I'm sharing at times here on this channel and what you see everybody else is sharing, most of the times it's sharing what's working, right? It's displaying this, look at this, what I found which has helped me. But not like, by the way, I'm not doing that anymore. I've not fully integrated that into my life. So I also just want to paint the picture that it's totally fine and natural and human to fall into those tendencies and to not follow through with everything you have set out to do in your life. As this is a deep recognition and an important point of the approach to psychedelic integration as well, right? To have this long-term vision and to have this compassion with yourself. The self-love of being kind to yourself and holding yourself in not being able to integrate everything you have experienced on psychedelics. All these insights. And some I have shared in the past. I might have wanted to integrate them. I might have integrated them for a short period of time or a longer period of time, but maybe I have shifted and changed that. And I have shifted and changed perspectives. So if you see old videos of mine or new ones, right, there might be a paradox in perspective. There might be something different. And that is because life is this constant process of evolving and changing and shifting and falling off the path and getting off on the path again. And that's the beauty of it all. That's the dance. That's life. So that's just what I wanted to share right before I shared this life-changing insight. By the way, hey, I'm Virgo and this is Psychedelic Actualization. On this channel we talk about topics like self-realization, self-actualization and working with psychedelics to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. A powerful part of psychedelic integration that I've found is coaching. And that's what I'm offering at the moment, psychedelic integration. If you're curious, there's a link in the video description to really have this sense of accountability and check off that you're not falling off the path. Or if you fall off the path, to see why. And to extract some learning of why you did or didn't do certain action steps. Powerful practice. So let's jump into the life-changing insight. The life-changing insight that I've had is kind of hitting on how I want to show up in life, right? That's so beautiful about psychedelic journeys and space. It's really sometimes a deep self-reflection on how I would love to show up in life. Just as a human being, with myself. And obviously I want to show up with more awareness, with more consciousness, with more gratitude. That's the powerful things about the funny thing about the life-changing insights on ayahuasca journeys or psychedelic journeys in general. Sometimes and oftentimes they are so simple, right? They are so obvious in a way of like, why haven't I thought of that before? Like I kind of knew, but I didn't really knew. And it's like, it's such a simple shift that it's like, if you share that to somebody, I shared it with a friend, for example, yesterday, and he was like, yeah, that's obvious. Like, of course you would want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, it's so obvious, but like, I truly needed this experience to show me that this is what I really want to do. And it's like, it's so funny that it's sometimes it's so simple and so obvious of what we want to integrate in our lives. And the reason how this insight came about was actually a little bit before in the ceremony. I had this humongous opening to the love of God and the grace of God. And I just was blessed with this connection and this divine presence of really fully surrendering into the presence of God. You can watch the full trip report right here regarding this part of the ayahuasca journey as it's a whole story in and of itself. And that was so deeply meaningful to me, this grace of God, this experience of God realization, right? And of full surrender and silence and peace. That then the life-changing insight automatically was kind of arising out of the moment afterwards. And it is I want to deepen my connection to God. I want to integrate worship more. See, it's so simple, and I knew, and it's basically part of my life purpose and part of my life's mission, right? To develop this connection to God. But have I been doing it? And as I mentioned in the beginning, I did, but not as fully as I could have, right? So it was so obvious in the experience, and I was like, what have I been doing? Like, what have I been doing with my life? Honestly, waking up and then looking at my phone at times, right? What is going on with this human life? Instead of waking up, centering myself, going out for a walk into nature and spend some time really honing in on that appreciation and gratitude for life, for this new day, right? Still alive. Oh, it's a new day. Thank you, God, for gifting me this gift of life. What a blessing. And to not just, right, say it and have your gratitude affirmations and whatever. And I tried all of this and kind of, right, as I said, sometimes integrate some stuff more and sometimes less. But to really deeply feel that, to be with myself and to, just cultivate this sense of worship in my morning, in my life, of like having an hour of sacred time. This is basically the insight and the idea that I would love to integrate in my life, right? This sacred hour in the morning. Instead of waking up, even if I'm not on my phone, sometimes I'm waking up and I'm instantly going to work on the laptop, reading a book or whatever. It's like researching something, shooting a video, and really getting into the flow of work. And that's beautiful as well, right? But to make the first hour or two of the day sacred as a worship hour. Because what else could be more important? That was kind of the insight after this opening and this God realization moment in the ayahuasca journey. I was like, what could be more important than just to worship God in whatever way that is, right? Not to be on the phone, not to do work, not to rush into eating something, but really to be with myself and then allow myself to be creative also in whatever I want to do, in however way I want to worship God. If that is smoking some mapacho, or doing some rape, and connecting with that, that is fine. If that is doing some sun salutation, right? Some yoga in the morning, that is fine as well. If that is some chanting, some good old chanting of some favorite mantras, of really remembering certain truth or connecting to certain aspects of the divine and appreciating and worshipping kind of those, right? Or do the 5 Tibetan rites and get into a dialogue with myself, cultivate this gratitude, speak an affirmation of appreciation, do some meditation, some basic breath awareness, right? Go outside for a walk, sit on the ground, even if it's raining, do some barefoot walking, right? Read a spiritual scripture. For example, sometimes in the morning I read a phrase of the Zen teachings of Bodhidharma, or just a phrase in Meister Eckhart sermon, one sermon a day. I did that for like until I was done with the book, basically. And it was a beautiful way to start the day, with the sense of looking at the divine presence, because that is one of my highest values. It is my highest value to deepen this connection with God, this realization of the divine. Nothing is more important to me. And then it was, right, so painful also in the experience then to realize that I am out of integrity with that at times, not always, right? I've done my good part of integration and am able to integrate that over and over again, but sometimes I fall into habits again, old patterns, right? Or yeah, sets of behavior that are not fully in integrity with this value of worshipping the divine and of recognizing the divine presence. So this is the life-changing insight, that I want to start my day like this. It's kind of the action step of the integration of this ayahuasca experience. I wrote down in my journal of like, if you integrate one thing, I don't know if it's on that page, but I wrote it down in my journal. If you integrate one thing out of this whole ayahuasca experience, let it be this. Coming back to the simple morning routine, right? And I've tried a couple and I love to play around with it, not to have it too fixed, but to also allow myself to be flexible and feel out what's most in alignment for this phase in my life. But start your day like this with a morning hour of worship and sacredness, gratitude and connection to yourself and the divine, and to life itself, because this is life, right? We're going to sleep and then we're entering life again, a new day. What a marvelous, magical, awe-inspiring wonder. It's truly like, it's mind-blowing that we're able to live and be aware. So I want to give that some time and appreciate that, because it's more important than anything else for myself, right? So, and then seeing the potential and seeing the vision, that's the last part that I wanted to share of what the ayahuasca experience showed me. And in the experience at times with psychedelics, right, I see a version of myself, or I experience and feel a version of myself that has unfolded and tapped into its highest potential to express that potential, a potential version of myself, of who I could be, of how I could show up, and of how I could connect and be with life. And that's super inspiring to have this vision, right? That's why I love coaching so much, circling back around to the offer of psychedelic integration coaching. Because it's kind of very similar to a psychedelic, of seeing the best in the other, seeing the highest potential in the other, in the coachee, and then inspiring him to see that for himself, of that what he couldn't even see himself before. And then to challenge him and push him to actualize that potential. And that is how the psychedelic is acting at times. That is how the ayahuasca was kind of acting in this ceremony, of showing me a potential version of myself that is truly in more integrity and alignment with my highest values. of what's truly important to me. So if that speaks to you, feel free to contact me and click on the link in the description regarding the psychedelic integration coaching, and we can have a little bit of a chat around that. So that's it. That's the insight. That's the life-changing insight. I told you it was going to be simple. I told you it was going to be obvious. I told you it's nothing new. It's nothing truly transformative. It is something truly transformative, but it's not something new. And you probably know already as well, right? I don't have to tell you that this is, if you value like the spiritual path and the self-realization, that is something that's worth the consideration, right? Starting your day with sacredness and taking an hour to really connect with yourself and ask yourself, what would bring joy and abundance into my life today, right? How can I prioritize that first thing in the morning to set out my day on the right foot? And as I mentioned as well, to end it with the full circle of holding yourself if you're not able to do this at times. As integration is difficult, as coming back from a retreat or out of a psychedelic space into your normal day-to-day life again is difficult. There is a tendency to fall into old habits, and that is okay. To fall off the path at times, but then remember again of what's truly important and walk on this lifelong journey of aligning yourself with that version of who you truly want to be and this highest potential for yourself. That's about it. That is all that I wanted to share today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Much love.